Silence is a language of its own. It doesn't beg, it doesn't explain, but it shakes the soul of those who once thought they could live without you. My friends, let me hit you hard right from the start. They're waiting. They're waiting for you to slip, to break, to fold first. They're sitting there in the quiet, not because they've forgotten you, but because they're curious to see if you'll give them what they want, proof that you're still hooked, proof that you still care. And here's the harsh truth. Most people do break. Most men send that late night, "Hey, just checking in." Most men cave when the silence starts to press against their chest like a weight. But not you. Not after today. Before we dive in deep, do me a quick favor. Press that like button, hit subscribe to Stoic Station, and stay with me, because what you're about to hear will change how you see silence forever. Hey folks, imagine this for a second. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are wild, the rain is pounding, the trees are bending. Most people would panic, most would run. But you stand still. You don't fight the storm. You become the stillness in the middle of it. And do you know what happens? The storm gets tired before you do. That's the power of silence. It's not running, it's not collapsing, it's standing firm when everything around you is begging you to move. And here's the lie that so many people believe. They think silence means nothing is happening. They think if you're not talking, not chasing, not reacting, then you're forgotten. Wrong. Silence is not empty. It's heavy. It presses on their chest when they're lying in bed at night. It echoes in their mind when they scroll and realize your name didn't pop up. It's like being in a room where someone left the music playing and then suddenly it stops. You don't notice the music until it's gone, but once it's gone, the silence feels deafening. That's you, my friends. That's your power. Think about it. If you keep showing up, liking every post, replying to every story, chasing every crumb of attention, there's no mystery left. You're like a book they've read too many times, predictable, familiar, easy to put down. But the moment you stop chasing, the moment you choose silence, suddenly you become that unfinished story, that song stuck in their head that they can't shake off. They start asking themselves, what happened? Why isn't he reaching out? Did he move on? Did I lose him? And that's when silence becomes louder than any word you could ever speak. Now, I'm not telling you to play games. I'm not telling you to sit there bitter, arms crossed, waiting for them to notice. No, that's not silence. That's pouting. I'm talking about something deeper. I'm talking about shifting the energy back to yourself, building, growing, living, so that your silence isn't a punishment for them, it's a gift to you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your silence is that power in action. It's the refusal to hand over your peace just because someone else expected you to crack. And I'll tell you something funny. Silence plays tricks on the mind. At first, they might shrug and think, he'll reach out eventually. But day by day, when you don't, when you hold steady, their mind starts filling in the blanks. They replay conversations, overanalyze little moments, scroll through old texts just to see if they missed something. Your silence becomes their noise. Your stillness becomes their storm. That's why I always say, folks, silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's self-respect. And it's magnetic. So hear me when I say this. Stop running to prove your worth. Stop collapsing just to make the discomfort go away. Stand tall in the quiet. Let them feel what it's like to live without your presence. Because the truth is, they never thought you'd be strong enough to disappear. Surprise them. Let your silence be the storm they never saw coming. So here's your affirmation for today. I choose silence. Write it down in the comments. Show me you're serious. Show yourself you're serious. And while you're at it, hit that like button, subscribe to Powerful Stoic Habits, and stay with me. because what comes next will flip the way you see connection, power, and presence forever. Number 1. Silence isn't emptiness, it's energy. The loudest things in life are often never spoken, they are felt. My friends, let's start with a truth most people miss. Silence isn't nothing. It isn't emptiness. It's energy, it's weight, it's presence. And when you hold it, when you refuse to break it, they feel it more than any message, any word, any reaction you could ever give. The world has tricked you into believing silence is weakness, that not responding means you've been forgotten, ignored, erased. But the opposite is true. Silence, when chosen with strength, becomes the heaviest thing in the room. Think of it like this. Imagine you're standing in a room with a giant clock on the wall. Tick, tock, tick, tock. At first you don't even notice it, but then the sound disappears, and suddenly the silence becomes deafening. That's how your presence works when you stop chasing, when you stop explaining, when you stop proving. You were once the noise in their world, predictable, constant, always there. But now the noise is gone, and the silence has weight. It presses on them when they least expect it. It whispers questions in their ear at night, when they thought they were done thinking about you. And here's what's really happening. They aren't at peace in that silence. They're in tension. They thought you would fold. They thought you would break, because most people do. Most people can't handle not knowing. Most people collapse under the pressure of not hearing from the other side, and when you don't, when you choose stillness instead of chasing, that silence flips from being about you to being about them. They start to feel it. They start to wonder, and that wondering becomes the noise they can't escape. Now I know the questions that creep into your mind because I've heard them from so many people who sit in this exact moment. What if they don't care? What if they've moved on? What if my silence doesn't matter? That's the fear talking. That's the lie whispering in your ear, telling you that silence means you've been erased. But listen carefully. Indifference doesn't look like silence. Indifference looks like closure. Silence only exists when something unfinished is still hanging in the air. If they were truly done, they wouldn't be watching, waiting, scrolling, lurking. They wouldn't still be holding the rope, hoping you'll tug on your end of it. Here's the lie most men believe: if I don't say something, I'll be forgotten. Wrong. What actually makes you forgettable is being predictable. What makes you unforgettable is becoming the man who holds his silence when the whole world expected him to break. Think about it. Are you more haunted by the person who won't leave you alone, or by the one who suddenly disappears? You don't stay up at night replaying texts from the one who chased you. You stay up wondering why the one who vanished did. That's the truth most people run from. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Silence is a source of great strength." And that's exactly what you must begin to understand. Silence is not passive, it's active, it's discipline, it's energy. When you don't reach out, when you don't fold, you're not doing nothing. You're channeling energy back to yourself. You're pulling back every ounce of power you use to hand away so freely. And while they may smile for the world, post their photos, laugh with their friends, when the noise fades, when the room goes quiet, your silence sits with them like a shadow. Why does this feel so hard? Because silence exposes your cravings. It shows you where you're still tethered, where you still want comfort, where you still long for a response. And sitting with that is uncomfortable. It's like standing in front of a mirror and refusing to look away. That's why most people run back to their phone, send that "hey" or comment on that post. They want to escape the discomfort of silence. But here's the key. If you can sit in that space, if you can hold your ground, the silence doesn't just transform you, it transforms them. Your stillness forces them to wrestle with their own choices. Your quiet energy becomes their storm, and it doesn't happen instantly. Regret never rushes in like a wave. It creeps in like fog, slowly, quietly, day by day. And the longer you stay silent, the thicker that fog becomes. At first, they tell themselves you're fine, you'll reach out eventually. But when you don't, the story they're telling themselves begins to unravel. Doubt seeps in. What if I lost more than I realized? What if they don't miss me at all? What if I miscalculated? And that's when your silence becomes undeniable. My friends, understand this. Silence isn't emptiness. It's gravity. It pulls at them in ways words never could. It shifts the balance. It makes them see themselves in the mirror you're holding up without ever lifting a finger. That's why you must resist the urge to break first. Because the moment you speak too soon, you take all that energy, all that weight, and hand it right back. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it feels unnatural. But that's because you've been trained to believe action is always the answer. You've been told to fight, to chase, to prove. But Stoic power doesn't come from chasing. It comes from restraint. It comes from becoming the man who can sit in silence and not collapse under it. That's the rarest power in the world. So today, decide that your silence is no longer a void. It's a presence. Decide that you won't mistake stillness for weakness. Because when you stop seeing silence as empty and start seeing it as energy, everything changes. You stop feeling forgotten and start becoming unforgettable. You stop being the one who waits and start being the one they can't stop wondering about. Write this in the comments right now. My silence has weight. Show me, show yourself, show the world around you that you're stepping into this truth. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's energy. And when you learn to hold it, you'll begin to feel the power that's been waiting inside you all along. Stay with me, because what comes next will reveal exactly why they're not ignoring you, but testing you. And once you see that clearly, the game will never be the same. Number 2, they're not ignoring you, they're testing you. People don't always go silent because they've forgotten you. Sometimes they go silent to see if you'll forget yourself. My friends, I want you to let that sink in for a moment. The silence you're feeling right now, the one that makes your chest heavy and your thoughts restless, it's not always indifference. More often than not, it's a test. They're not ignoring you, they're waiting, they're watching, and they're wondering how long you can hold your ground before you fold. This is the hidden game most people never talk about. You're told to believe that when they stop texting, stop calling, stop showing up, it means you don't matter anymore. But that's the lie. Silence is rarely clean. It's rarely final. In most cases, it's a trap, a quiet test of endurance to see who will break first. Imagine this. You're in a staring contest. The whole point isn't about the eyes. It's about the blink. The silence works the same way. They're not saying anything, not because they have nothing left to say, but because they want to see if you'll blink first, if you'll lose composure, if you'll prove to them that you still need them more than they need you. And here's the kicker. Most people do blink. Most men give in. They can't stand the tension. They can't handle the unknown. The silence becomes too loud, too uncomfortable, so they break it with a text. Hey, just checking in. Did you see my message? Or the weakest of them all, reacting to a story just to get some form of acknowledgement. That's when the power shifts. That's when the one who held the silence knows they've won. But what happens when you don't fold? What happens when you refuse to blink? Suddenly, the test flips. Suddenly, the weight they were trying to put on you rebounds and falls on them. They start questioning themselves. They start wondering why you haven't cracked like everyone else. Let me put it in a metaphor, folks. Think about poker. Two players at the table, both bluffing, both holding their cards close. The game isn't about the cards, it's about the patience. Whoever cracks first, Whoever reveals their hand loses. Silence is the same. It's not about what's really going on inside you. It's about your ability to sit still, to hold steady, to not reveal your hand. And when you do, when you master that stillness, the test they designed for you becomes the trap they fall into themselves. But I know what's running through your mind. Why are they testing me? Why can't they just be direct? Why do they play these games? The answer is simple but uncomfortable. People test because they crave certainty without sacrificing control. They want to know if you still care, if you're still available, but they don't want to give up their pride, their position, their sense of power. So they stay silent. They hold back. They wait for you to prove that you're still orbiting around them. And if you break, you confirm it. You tell them without words, yes, you still have me. And that's the lie we need to break today. The lie that silence means you've been abandoned. No, silence often means they're still hooked, but they want you to move first. It's not absence, it's bait. And if you fall for it, you lose your leverage, your dignity, your power. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's exactly what silence tests. It's not about love, not about closure, not even about communication. It's about mastery. Can you master yourself in the face of discomfort? Can you resist the pull when everything inside you screams for relief? Can you endure the test long enough to let the silence flip back onto them? Now, let's be real. This isn't easy. Holding silence when you care, when you miss them, when you want nothing more than to hear their voice again, is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It feels like carrying a weight in your chest that only grows heavier each day. Your mind starts creating stories. Maybe they don't care anymore. Maybe they've moved on. Maybe I should just reach out once. Just one message won't hurt. But that's exactly what the test is built for. It's designed to see if you'll sacrifice your dignity for momentary relief. And most do. They crack. They send the text. They fail the test. And do you know what happens next? Nothing. Maybe a short reply, maybe silence in return, because the point was never about reconnecting, it was about control. And once you hand that over, once you fold first, the silence no longer belongs to them. It belongs to you. You carry it, not them. But my friends, here's where your strength must rise. Because if you can hold, if you can stay grounded in the storm, their silence transforms. It stops being a weapon against you, and it becomes a mirror against them. They start hearing the questions in their own head. Why haven't they cracked? Why haven't they reached out? Do they not care? Did I lose them for good? And the longer you hold the line, the louder those questions get. Silence isn't indifference. It's a test of gravity. The longer you endure it, the stronger your pull becomes. And eventually, they can't escape it. They can run, they can distract themselves, they can put on a show for the world. But when the noise fades, when the lights go off, they feel it. They feel the silence they created pressing back on them with a force they never expected. So don't make the mistake of confusing their silence with peace. It's not peace, it's pressure. And when you hold, when you refuse to blink, that pressure transfers. It moves from your chest to theirs. And that's when the game changes. That's when you stop being the one who is tested and you become the one who holds the test in your hands. Remember this, my friends. Silence is not their weapon. It's your training ground. It's the place where your discipline is forged, where your self-control is sharpened, where your sovereignty is born. Every day you don't break, every night you don't reach, every moment you don't fold. You're not just passing their test. You're building yourself into someone who no longer needs their validation to stand tall. So here's what I want you to do. Write this affirmation in the comments right now. I will not fold. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it, because this is your line in the sand. You are no longer playing their game. You are no longer trapped in their silence. You are mastering yourself. And when you do that, when you rise in stillness, you'll discover something powerful. They were never ignoring you. They were testing you. And the moment you refuse to break, you pass a test they never expected you to win. Stay with me, because what comes next will expose exactly how your silence doesn't just pass their test, it rewrites the story in their mind. And that, my friends, is where the real shift begins. Number 3. Silence reframes the story in their mind. Silence is not the end of the story. It is the part where the story begins to rewrite itself. My friends, this is where it gets interesting. Because silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of reflection. When you stop speaking, when you stop reaching, when you stop proving yourself, something strange begins to happen. The story they tell themselves about you, about what happened, about what you mean to them, begins to shift. Your silence doesn't just create space, it bends the narrative inside their head until what once felt solid begins to feel uncertain. And uncertainty, my friends, is the seed of regret. Let's break the lie right here. Most of you think that when you stay silent, they're not thinking about you at all. You imagine that they've moved on, erased you, replaced you. But that's not how the human mind works. People don't just delete stories. They rewrite them. They fill in the gaps. They ask questions. And silence creates more questions than answers ever could. Imagine this. You finish a movie, and just when you're expecting the ending to tie everything together, the screen goes black. No resolution, no explanation, just silence. What happens? You don't forget that movie. You obsess over it. You replay it. You wonder what the ending meant. You even make up your own explanations, searching for closure that never comes. That's exactly what your silence does in their life. You stop giving them clarity, and suddenly they're forced to write their own ending. And no matter how much they try, it never satisfies. At first, they might tell themselves a comfortable story. He's still thinking of me. He just doesn't know how to reach out. Or, they'll come back eventually. They always do. That story keeps them safe. It protects their pride. But as your silence stretches, that story begins to crack. Doubt sneaks in like water through the smallest hole in a dam, and once doubt enters, it spreads. What if I misread them? What if they don't miss me? What if I lost more than I realized? Here's the truth. Silence doesn't make you disappear. It makes you bigger. It turns you into a question mark that they can't erase. Words make you predictable. Silence makes you mysterious. And mystery is unforgettable. Now let's dig deeper. Why does this happen? Why does silence reframe the story in their mind instead of closing it? Because human beings crave certainty. We crave answers. The brain is wired to fill in gaps. When someone pulls away and then explains why, the story feels complete and closure comes easy. But when someone pulls away in silence, the mind doesn't rest. It loops, it replays, it fills the silence with imagination, and imagination is always more powerful than reality. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." That's what silence forces. It makes them realize that their version of the story might not be the truth at all. They begin to reinterpret the past, the laughs, the moments, the connection. It all starts to feel different when they realize they can no longer reach you. And let's be real, this is difficult for you. Because while their mind is rewriting the story, your mind is battling its own lies. You tell yourself, if they're not saying anything, it means I don't matter. If they're silent, it means it's over. But listen closely. Silence doesn't mean it's over. Silence means the story isn't finished. It means the script is still being written. Only now, you're not the one writing it. They are. And the longer you stay silent, the harder it gets for them to write a version where they feel like they won. Think of it like this. Imagine a painter. They're working on a masterpiece, but halfway through, the brush is snatched from their hand. The canvas is unfinished. Do you think they just walk away? No. They stare at it. They imagine what could have been. They obsess. Your silence is that unfinished canvas. It forces them to keep looking, to keep wondering, to keep asking, what if? And here's where the shift happens. At first, silence feels like their control. They think, I'll wait them out. They'll break first. But as time goes on, as you hold steady, silence flips. Suddenly, it no longer feels like their weapon. It feels like their prison. Every day that you don't reach out is another day they lose certainty. Another day their story bends. Another day regret grows. You see, people don't regret instantly. Regret builds. It builds in the quiet moments when the world stops distracting them. It builds in the middle of the night when they scroll back through old messages. It builds when they see your name in their phone, but realize there's no new message waiting. It builds when they realize you're no longer orbiting around them like you once did. And that's why your silence is so powerful, because it doesn't just protect you, it reframes you. It makes them see you differently, not as someone they controlled, but as someone they underestimated. You go from predictable to rare, from ordinary to unforgettable, and all without saying a single word. But let's address the hardest part, you. Because while silence reframes the story in their mind, it also tests the story in yours. You'll feel tempted to break it, to reach out, to grab the brush back and finish the painting yourself. But don't, because the story you're writing now isn't about them. It's about you. It's about becoming the man who no longer needs to be understood, validated, or explained. It's about becoming the one who can walk away and let the silence do the work. So when the fear creeps in, when the lies get loud, remind yourself, their silence doesn't erase you, it magnifies you. It makes them remember you in ways they never planned to. It makes them sit in questions they don't want to ask. It makes them face the truth that maybe, just maybe, they let go of something irreplaceable. My friends, don't rob them of that reflection. Don't rob yourself of that growth. Let the silence stretch. Let the story rewrite itself in their mind until the weight of it becomes undeniable. Because the man who holds silence is the man who holds the pen, even if the other side doesn't realize it yet. Here's your affirmation. My silence rewrites the story. Write it in the comments. Show me, show yourself, show the world that you understand this truth, because silence is not emptiness, it's reflection. It doesn't erase the story, it reframes it. And when you hold it long enough, the ending they thought they controlled turns into the regret they never saw coming. Stay with me, because what comes next will expose why one single message, one tiny slip, can destroy all of this power in an instant. And once you see that clearly, you'll understand why silence must never be broken too soon. Number 4, the moment you break first, you lose leverage. It only takes one weak moment to undo months of strength. My friends, this is the part most men don't want to hear, but you must. The silence you've been holding, the strength you've been building, the discipline you've been forging, it can all be undone in a single slip. One message, one emoji, one, hey, just checking in. That's all it takes. And the moment you do it, the moment you break first, you lose the very leverage that silence was creating for you. Think about it like this. Imagine a giant stone wall. Every day you stay silent, you're adding another brick, another layer, another piece of strength between you and the storm. But the moment you break first, you're not just removing one brick, you're tearing down the whole wall. Because it's not about the words you sent, it's about what it means. It tells them, without a single doubt, I couldn't hold, I still need you. And once you hand them that certainty, the power you held evaporates. Now here's the dangerous part. It doesn't feel like weakness when you break. It feels like relief. That's what tricks so many people. The silence builds pressure inside your chest, and you convince yourself that sending just one small message will ease it. And it does. For a moment, you feel lighter. The ache softens. The storm in your mind quiets for a second. But that relief is short-lived, because now you've given away your strength. You've handed them the upper hand, and deep down you know it. You don't send that message because it's wise. You don't send it because the connection needed repair. You send it because you wanted the pain to stop. And my friends, pain, relief, and power cannot live in the same place. The moment you trade your dignity for a moment of comfort, you've already lost. Let's paint the picture clearer. Imagine two climbers on opposite sides of a mountain, both holding a rope. Neither one wants to let go first, because whoever does shows weakness. The silence is that rope. Every day you hold on, you show strength. Every day you don't reach out, you prove your grip. But the moment you tug on that rope, even slightly, you confirm what they hoped all along, that you still want to climb back up to them. And once they know that, the tension is gone. The test is over. The leverage belongs to them. And don't fool yourself into thinking it's harmless. That one tiny, "How have you been?" or that one little heart on their story, it speaks louder than you think. Because it confirms everything they wanted to believe. I still have them. They're still waiting. They haven't moved on. That knowledge takes away the fear of losing you. And once they know they can have you whenever they want, the urgency to miss you dies instantly. Now I know some of you are thinking, but maybe if I send something it will restart things. Maybe it will remind them of me. Maybe it will reopen the door. That's the lie your loneliness tells you. But think back. Has a single desperate text ever made someone suddenly respect you again? Has a casual check-in ever restored a lost connection? No, because the problem was never silence. The problem was energy. And your silence was beginning to shift that energy back in your favor. But by breaking it, you reset the balance. You put yourself back where you started, chasing, reaching, needing. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The silence is your power over your mind. Breaking it is surrendering that power back to impulse. And impulses, my friends, never build strong men. They break them. But let's be real. It's not easy. The silence feels heavy. Your mind starts screaming at you. What if they've moved on? What if they've forgotten? What if I'm missing my last chance? And that fear, that craving for certainty, is what drives you to break. But listen carefully. The last chance you think you're preserving is the very thing your silence is creating. It's not lost, it's building. Every day you hold still, the gravity grows. Every day you resist, the pressure shifts. Every day you don't break, the possibility of regret on their side expands. The hard truth? The men who fold first never win. They might get a reply, they might get a moment of relief, but they never get respect. And without respect, no connection lasts. Respect is born in restraint, in stillness, in the refusal to act from weakness. That's what creates the rare kind of presence that lingers in someone's mind forever. Think of the greatest storms you've ever seen. Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. They're powerful, but they come and go. They leave destruction, yes, but they pass. Now think of the mountain. It doesn't move. It doesn't fold. It stands in silence. And because of that, it commands respect in a way no storm ever could. That's what your silence must become. A mountain, immovable, unshaken, a presence that cannot be ignored, no matter how much they want to believe otherwise. And let me say this clearly, silence isn't about punishing them. It's about protecting you. It's not about playing games. It's about refusing to trade your dignity for a dopamine hit. It's about saying, I am worth more than a text that goes unanswered, because you are. And the longer you hold, the more you start to feel it, the more you start to believe it, and the more they start to see it. So here's what I want you to do. When the urge comes, and it will, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I reaching out from strength or from discomfort? And if it's discomfort, don't move. Don't speak. Let the silence do its work. Let it build weight. Let it rewrite the story in their mind until they feel the loss they never expected to feel. Because real power doesn't chase. It doesn't plead. It doesn't explain itself. Real power is quiet, steady, unshaken. And in a world where everyone breaks first, where everyone folds under the pressure of silence, be the one who doesn't. Write this affirmation in the comments right now. I don't break first. Let that be your mantra, your shield, your reminder when the craving hits. Because the truth is simple. The moment you break first, you lose leverage. But the moment you refuse, the silence shifts. And once it shifts, once the gravity turns, you stop being the one who waits. And you become the one they can't stop thinking about. Stay with me, because what comes next will show you why they never miss what's always there, but they always miss what vanishes. And once you understand that, you'll finally see why your silence is the most unforgettable presence you'll ever hold. Number 5. They don't miss what's always there, they miss what vanishes. No one ever misses the air they breathe until it's gone. My friends, let me tell you something you need to burn into your mind. People don't miss what they can always reach. They miss what disappears. They miss what vanishes into silence and leaves behind an echo they can't quiet. And this is where so many men go wrong. They think staying present, staying visible, staying in her orbit will somehow keep her close. They believe if they keep reacting to her posts, keep checking her stories, keep popping up in little ways, she'll remember their worth. But that's not how memory works. That's not how longing works. You don't crave water while you're drinking it. You crave it when the glass is empty. You don't ache for warmth while you're wrapped in a blanket. You ache when you step out into the cold. And in the same way, they don't miss you while you're still orbiting their world. They miss you when you vanish. They miss you when your presence suddenly turns into absence, when the constant background noise of your attention fades into silence. That's when the mind starts replaying, questioning, longing. Think about this. Imagine a song you've heard 1,000 times. At first, it was your favorite. You played it on repeat, felt every lyric, every beat. But eventually, the constant replay dulled its power. You didn't hate the song, you just stopped noticing it. But then, one day, you don't hear it anymore. Weeks pass, months even, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you catch a snippet of that same song on the radio. What happens? The memory rushes back. The nostalgia stirs. You feel it all over again, not because it was always there, but because it vanished and returned unexpectedly. That's the power of absence. That's the power of vanishing. Most men don't understand this. They cling, they hover, they check in every few days just to keep themselves on the radar. They think, if I don't remind them I'm here, they'll forget me. But the opposite is true. The reminders kill the mystery. The constant presence erases the tension, and without tension, there's no gravity. Without gravity, there's no regret. Let me break a hard truth. Predictability is forgettable. The man who never leaves, who always reaches out, who stays glued to her world, becomes background noise. He blends into the scenery of her life. But the man who vanishes, the man who withdraws into silence without explanation, He becomes the unfinished story her mind can't put down. He becomes the question that keeps circling in her thoughts. And here's the beauty of it. Silence forces the imagination to work overtime. When you're always present, she doesn't need to think about you. They sees you. They knows you're still around. But when you disappear, when you stop showing up, their imagination has to fill in the blanks. What's they doing? Who's they with? Why hasn't they reached out? Did they move on? That loop is far more powerful than any words you could ever say. Because words answer questions. Silence creates them. Seneca once said, "Absence sharpens love, presence strengthens it." But notice the order. You cannot strengthen what was never sharpened. Absence comes first. Distance comes first. It's the sharp edge that cuts into their certainty, that makes them feel the weight of your loss. Then, and only then, can presence regain its strength. But as long as you're always there, as long as you refuse to vanish, the edge is dull. The impact is gone. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but what if I vanish and they forget me completely? What if my absence doesn't matter? That's fear talking. That's the craving for certainty disguised as logic. But the truth is, if your presence had no weight, your absence wouldn't feel so heavy. The very fact that you're scared of vanishing proves you already mattered. And absence only magnifies what was real to begin with. If the bond was fake, your presence or absence means nothing. But if it was real, if you touch their soul even once, your silence will echo louder than any daily reminder ever could. Picture this. Imagine you're walking through a forest and there's a river beside you. Every step, you hear the flowing water. It's comforting, familiar, constant. You stop noticing it after a while, but suddenly, without warning, the river goes dry. Silence, no movement, no flow. That's when you realize how much you depended on the sound, how much it anchored you. That's when you miss it. That's when you can't stop thinking about it. That's how absence works. And here's what really stings for them. It's not just that you disappeared. It's why you disappeared. When they realize your absence wasn't an accident, but a decision, it cuts deeper. Because disappearing out of anger is one thing. Vanishing out of peace, out of clarity, out of self-respect, that's different. That's unforgettable. They realize they no longer have access to the version of you who once waited, who once chased, who once lingered. They see that you've become someone else, someone they can't summon with a story post, someone they can't pull back with a breadcrumb. And that's when regret sinks in. This is why I always tell you, my friends, don't vanish out of bitterness. Don't vanish as a trick. Vanish because you've chosen yourself. Vanish because you're rebuilding. Vanish because your life is too big to orbit around someone who walked away. That's when your silence stops being a tactic and becomes a transformation. That's when it speaks louder than words. Because here's the truth. Vanishing doesn't erase you. It immortalizes you. It turns you into the ghost that lingers in their quiet moments, into the memory they can't shake, into the story they can't finish. They don't lie awake thinking about the man who texted every 3 days. They lie awake haunted by the one who disappeared without explanation, the one who left a void too loud to ignore. So stop trying to remind them you exist. Stop leaving traces. Stop dropping hints. Stop clinging to presence. They don't miss what's always there. They miss what vanishes. They miss what can no longer be reached. And when they realize that version of you is gone, when they see that your silence isn't a trick but a truth, they'll feel the weight of it. They'll feel the regret, and you won't need to say a single word. Here's your affirmation. My absence creates gravity. Write it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Because this is where your silence transforms from nothingness into power, from weakness into sovereignty, from noise into presence. And stay with me, because what comes next will reveal why silence is never just a tactic. It's not about games. It's not about tricks. It's about becoming someone new. And when silence becomes your state of being, that's when they finally realize they can't reach you anymore. Not because you're hiding, but because you've outgrown them. Number 6. Silence isn't a strategy. It's a state of being. You don't become powerful by pretending you've let go. You become powerful when you no longer need to pretend at all. My friends, let's strip the disguise off one of the biggest lies men fall into when they first discover silence. Too many think it's a trick. They think if they stop texting, if they stop calling, if they stop reacting, then magically the other side will come running back. They treat silence like a chess move, like a strategy, like a performance. But here's the truth. If you're being silent just to provoke, you're not silent at all. You're still waiting. You're still tethered. You're still living in reaction. That's not strength. That's performance. And people can feel the difference. Silence, real silence, isn't about what they see. It's about what you've chosen. It's not about ignoring them so they'll notice. It's about detaching so deeply that their attention no longer decides your worth. That's when silence stops being a tactic and becomes a state of being. That's when it shifts from manipulation to mastery. Think of it like this. Imagine an actor on a stage. He's playing the role of a strong man. He's silent, arms crossed, staring off into the distance. To the audience, he looks unshakable. But behind the curtain, he's checking his phone, waiting for someone to text, hoping someone noticed his silence. That's not power. That's acting. And acting might fool a crowd for a while, but it never fools energy. Energy doesn't lie. When you hold silence as a performance, it has cracks. You'll peek at their page. You'll check if they saw your story. You'll secretly hope your absence stings. But when silence becomes your state, those cracks close. You're no longer checking. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer hoping. You've redirected all of that energy inward, into growth, into building, into becoming. That's when silence stops being a mask and starts being your reality. And here's the trap most fall into. They confuse stillness with waiting. They tell themselves, I'm silent now, I'm holding the line, I'm strong. But deep down, they're holding their breath. They're not really moving on, they're just pausing, waiting for the moment the other person finally cracks. That's not silence, that's suspense. And as long as you're waiting for their move, you're still chained to the game. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." That is what silence as a state of being is. It's freedom. It's no longer checking the scoreboard, no longer asking, when will they notice me again? It's living so fully in your own lane that whether they notice or not is irrelevant. Imagine a candle in the dark. It flickers because it's always reacting to the slightest wind. That's you when silence is a strategy. You're still vulnerable to every gust, every shift, every move they make. Now imagine a mountain. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't react. It stands in silence, day after day, century after century, unshaken. That's you when silence becomes your state. You don't just resist the wind, you transcend it. And yes, my friends, I know it's difficult. Because silence as a strategy feels good at first. It feels like you're doing something. You think, if I just stay quiet long enough, they'll reach out. You think you're in control. But the truth, you're still handing them the script. You're still saying, my silence exists for your reaction. And the longer they don't react, the more your strength crumbles. That's why so many men fail. They weren't silent for themselves, they were silent for her. But silence as a state, that's different. That's when you don't just stop talking to them, you stop needing them to talk at all. That's when your energy no longer orbits around their absence. That's when you realize you're not waiting, you're rising. And that's the shift. Silence stops being a pause and becomes progress. It stops being about them and becomes about you. It stops being a trick to bring them back and becomes a doorway into the man you were meant to be. Because let's be honest, the silence isn't about whether they miss you. It's about whether you can find yourself again. Think about the men who are truly unforgettable. They're not the ones who played games. They're not the ones who pretended to move on while secretly waiting. They're the ones who disappeared into their purpose, who rebuilt themselves so completely that when someone looked back, they realized they could never reach that version again. That's not strategy. That's evolution. That's not manipulation. That's transformation. And here's the paradox. You only become unforgettable when you stop trying to be remembered. You only become magnetic when you no longer need to be noticed. You only create gravity when you stop pulling. That's what silence as a state of being teaches you. That's what makes you rare in a world full of men desperate for validation. So, my friends, ask yourself honestly, are you silent because you're waiting, or are you silent because you've risen? Are you quiet because you hope they'll notice, or are you quiet because you've finally noticed yourself? The difference is everything. One keeps you chained to the past, the other unlocks the future. Because true silence isn't coldness, it isn't cruelty, it isn't punishment, it's peace. It's saying, I don't need to play this game anymore. It's walking forward with your head high, your energy steady, your purpose clear. And in that space, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just become harder to reach, you become impossible to forget. So let me leave you with this. Stop treating silence like a weapon. Stop using it like bait. Let it become your foundation, your way of walking through life. Let it become who you are, not what you do. Because silence isn't how you win them back. It's how you get yourself back. And when you finally embody that truth, you'll realize you never lost anything worth chasing in the first place. Here's your affirmation for today. My silence is my freedom. Write it in the comments below. Show yourself, show the world around you that you're no longer silent to provoke. You're silent to protect. And if this message spoke to you, don't let it fade. Hit that like button, subscribe to Powerful Stoic Habits, and share this video with someone who needs it. Because, my friends, this isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of becoming a man whose silence isn't strategy, but strength.